What's good, duelists? Today we will be going over the new Genex support that just got announced. It's going to be 4 cards in the Japanese set TW01. It's a pretty cool support. This deck, I actually remember, could do a 1-card FTK with the Neospatian going into the Infernoble Link. But let's go over the cards first, and then I'll talk more about that. So, for the first card, we have the Genex Synchro, Arms of Genex Return 0. Level 10, Dark Machine, Synchro Effect Monster, 3100 attack, 2950 defense. Basically, as we can see from the artwork, it looks like Decisive Armor, who's had a good amount of revamps. I mean, I remember Necros of Decisive Armor. That card was broken. So shout out to that card. I love that card. I mean, I do literally have like a Necros tattoo, so of course I know that. Alright, so we have Arms of Genex Return 0. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard with the same attribute as that monster, but a different one than those banished to activate this effect of this card's name this turn. You get the activation if you do destroy that. So negate is pretty good. Just rereading it real quick. When your opponent that effect was kind of confusing, but basically it has a second effect, as all Decisive Armor cards do. They wreak havoc on the back row. So the first effect, you just banish 1 monster from your graveyard that matches the attribute of their monster, and then you get to negate and destroy that monster. It'd be better if it negated the effect. Not the best synchro, but for Genex synchros, it's actually really good. I would say this is probably one of the best Genex synchros of all time. I went over them. They're not the best. Alright, and then we have Repair Genex Controller. This card is crazy. It can normal summon like 50 times in 1 turn. So it's a Link 1 Dark Machine, Effect Monster, 1200 attack, 1 level 4 or lower Genex monster. You can only special summon him once per turn. If this card is Link summoned, you can add 1 Genex monster from your graveyard to your hand. Once per turn, if a Genex monster is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Genex monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Synchro summon using a Genex tuner as material. So basically, all the tuners for the Genex Synchro monsters you're summoning, they will have to be the tuners for materials. So technically this card could summon like 50 times in 1 turn, you know, as many times as you can add, because that part's not once per turn, it's just once per chain. And then the card you link with it, you can immediately basically summon. So you could go like, you know, Undine, normal summon, get Genex Controller, make this with Undine, add Undine to your hand, and then normal summon Undine again, and use its effect, I believe. And you could add the Genex Controller. I think it wouldn't miss timing. Yeah, because it would be the first effect targets Undine, and then the second effect summon Genex Controller, and then bam, that's a level 6 Synchro. So with just Undine, I believe this card is a level 6 Synchro with itself still on the field. So Link 1 and a level 6 Genex Synchro. That's pretty cool, I would say, and that definitely makes Undine better. Man, Undine used to be money during Mermail format. I miss that format so much. Mermails were such a sweet deck. But, oh, it looks like we get a new Undine, level 4, 1700, 1100 defense. Aqua monster, just like Undine. Once per turn, you can banish 1 Genex monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack against that monster's attribute. Then if you banished a tuner to activate this effect, you can treat this card as a tuner until the end of the turn. Alright. If you control a Genex Synchro monster, you can target 2 Genex monsters in your graveyard, including this card, add them to your hand, also banish any card sent to your graveyard for the rest of the turn. The banish any card from your graveyard for the rest of the turns seems like a pretty devastating clause. That kind of maybe has cool applications with the fish deck we were going over yesterday. But I don't know. I mean, the second effect is kind of broken for like Genex, but it's pretty much telling you, yeah, you're done after that. Yeah, it's an interesting new Undine card for sure. Real Genex Turing? R-Genex Turing. Oh, so it's another R-Genex, which is actually really important because there is a level 3 that adds any level 2 Genex from your deck to your hand, so it could actually add this, but it has to be an R-Genex to do so. Level 2 Dark Spellcaster Tuner Effect Monster. 600, 600. Interesting that it's equal stats. Sometimes that's relevant. You can only use the first, and it can make Selene, you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. During your opponent's main phase, if you control a Genex monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then immediately after that effect resolves, you can synchro summon one Genex Synchro monster. That's actually not that bad. You know, it's basically like a formula synchron from the hand, only to summon a Genex Synchro. But that's kind of, synchro summon one Genex. Okay, having the clause that you have to control a Genex monster is pretty important, because if you didn't, then it could just be a hand trap in almost any deck. But I think that's pretty cool. Since this is a tuner, you can use itself. Yeah, I think this card's really cool. If this card is on the field, well, yeah, you couldn't use it as a hand trap by itself. You would have to have another monster, because it synchros from the field only. If this card on the field is used for a synchro material for a Genex monster, it can be treated as a level 1 or 3 monster. That's pretty broken too. It gets to be literally anything, but it's only for Genex monsters, so keep that in mind with how broken this stuff is. And then this set's going to have some reprints of the iconic Genex monsters. And then I did go through like all of the Genex monsters here. So basically with the good ones, I mean, Genex Blast Fan was an interesting one, because for the Magispector deck, Majesty Pegasus can actually summon this. The rank 4 Magispector like unicorn card. It can actually summon Genex Blast Fan, which can add Birdman, which can add a hand trap back to your hand in that combo. This deck's pretty interesting though, especially with the, I thought this card was cool. So Genex Solar can actually inflict 500 damage to your opponent each time a face-up Genex monster you control is sent to the graveyard. So basically in the one card combo with this deck, when you summon like the Neospatian, the Alias monster, basically Connector Surge, Warrior Special, make the Infernoble monster, and then you combo from there, and basically eventually you get to the point where you summon this guy and this monster that puts desynchro back to your top of your deck. So you keep synchroing with a Genex monster and desynchroing it, and then drawing off Librarian, and then that's an infinite loop with Genex Solar. So this deck actually does have some cute FTK potential, so if you're looking for a deck to break and maybe get some cards banned, this is definitely like that kind of archetype that is possible just because of this card, and we're restricted into Genex monsters. However, the Genex Synchro monster lineup is not the best. These are not like, they're all interruptions. Like, they're all like, you know, I'm trying to destroy cards like the old-fashioned way. I'm not really doing anything that broken. But the new level 10 Synchro is pretty cool, especially for it being decisive armor. But I mean, it really just proves they haven't given up on Genex monsters. So maybe we'll see some Genex cards actually rise in price. Like I said, Undine is really a possible contender to do that. With the combo I just mentioned with the Link 1, and then it's like funny, we're gonna still be adding Genex Controller, the brick, the original brick that everyone played in Mermail. This was the other card I was talking about, R-Genex Magma. So this will add a level 2, so this can actually add the new level 2 monster from your deck to your hand. But you could also add R-Genex Crusher, because you could keep normal summoning this, so you can go normal summon this, add this, normal summon this right away with the Link 1 effect, add this, normal summon this. So that basically gets you a level 3, a level 2, and a level 4 just off the Link 1. Pretty broken stuff. There's also R-Genex Oracle. If it's a tuner, if it's added to your deck to your hand, you can special summon it right away. There's also Genex Power Planner. When this card is normal summon, you can add one level 3 Genex effect monster from your deck to your hand. Guess what that adds? R-Genex Magma. So bam, that's already 4 normal summons off of just the Link 1. If you do open, like, say, Genex Power Planner. And then what's so broken about these cards, guys, is they're not once per turn. They're not hard once per turns or soft once per turns. You just like normal them, get the effect. They're just like the red, yellow, and green gadget. One of my favorite lineups of Searchers, probably one of the first decks I played. And then for other broken cards, Genex Ally Squad, this card is pretty cool. It can draw 2 cards. You send one face-up Water Genex monster, so you can send the new one. Then you get to draw 2 cards. Obviously, it's not going to work because it has that graveyard effect, so if you use the second effect of the new Water level 4, you might not be able to trigger that. But it was basically just these 10 for cards that I would consider being like the good Genex monsters. If you have any questions about this archetype or the potential FTK, let me know. I could do maybe another video about that or just respond to you in the comments. I'll also leave this in the description so you could go over just this, I don't know, random assortment of Genex monsters in case you don't have trouble with any of the names. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day and peace.